happy Friday. I think Bitcoin's going to hit all-time highs. It hit them today, and I think it's going further, right? My basic premise is that ultimately Bitcoin's value will be half of that of all the gold outstanding. So you're talking about something like $300,000 for Bitcoin.
Investing expert Jan Van Eck, CEO of a company with almost $90 billion in assets under management, has just explained how Bitcoin's price reaches $300,000 per coin.
Why only half the value? Why not a quarter of the value or pick some other random number?
As well as where he sees Ethereum.
What I've said about Ethereum is...
Watch today's whole video. And first, just in 90 seconds or less, understand Jan Van Eck's background.
Sure. I mean, I can give you the short version. Van Eck, the firm, was started by my father in 1955. And our investment philosophy, I think I would describe it as macro. And what I mean by that is looking at big trends in the world, economic, political, and technology-wise, and saying, okay, the world actually affects the financial markets. And what are the big trends? What are the asset classes that are going to develop? So in 1955, my father put together an international equity mutual fund. There were none the year before. There was one other person who started that year, John Templeton. And then probably what my father's best known for is in 1968, he sold almost all those international stocks and bought gold mining shares because he thought gold was going to benefit from the inflationary monetary and fiscal policies of the U.S. government. Now, I like to point out that gold had been fixed against the dollar for the entirety of U.S. history. And if you know anything about financial theory, if an asset is flat in price, it has no volatility, it has no risk. It's sort of a weird object to want to buy. But anyway, that bet really worked out in 1971. Gold ended up going up to over $800 an ounce. And so it's that kind of macro thinking that leads to the evolution of asset classes. We participated in the development of the emerging markets was a big theme for us, the commodity trends of the 2000s, and then crypto.
And this gold versus Bitcoin ETF chart says it all. But actually just speaking about emerging markets.
We participated in the development of the emerging markets was a big theme for us.
I literally just shared with you this yesterday. I'll share with you a little clip again that today the emerging markets play is Bitcoin.
There's 6 new members of BRICS this year. So BRICS GDP is now greater than the combined GDP of G7. Of the 6 new members, 3 of them, Argentina, the UAE, and Ethiopia, are now mining Bitcoin with government resources.
And while Van Eck and Associates made a lot of their money betting on gold back in the day, it does appear Bitcoin is the clear bet today. It took gold's ETF 5 years to break $20 billion of inflows. Bitcoin did it in 10 months. The most successful ETF launch in history. And Jan Van Eck explains what's next.
Why only half the value? Why not a quarter of the value or pick some other random number?
Well, because maybe I'm more balanced. I think if I were Bitcoin maximalist, I would say it would overtake gold. But I think that's like a reasonable base assumption. It's clear. One of the big winners this year is individual investors have really piled into the Bitcoin ETFs. And I think as individuals, as a constituency, they were important in this election. The loss by Sherrod Brown of his Ohio Senate seat, the fact that Trump went to the Bitcoin convention shows that there's a big constituency in the U.S. and hopefully it becomes a bipartisan issue as well, not so one-sided.
And I think what institutional investors are starting to realize about gold versus Bitcoin, that while gold is good at storing value over time, but not space. And fiat is good at storing value over space, but not time. Bitcoin's good at both. And you may think, Austin, okay, I finally get it, but it looks over. It looks like the gains have already happened. Well, let's not forget what ETF expert Matthew Hogan said in our interview with him a few weeks ago.
Before I came to Bitwise 6.5 years ago, I was the CEO of ETF.com. So this is my neck of the woods. The thing that crypto should realize about ETFs is they are multi-year stories. If you look back at the gold ETF, which when it launched was the most successful ETF launch of all time, year 2 had more flows than year 1, year 3 more than year 2, year 4 more than year 3 for 8 straight years. I actually think the same thing is going to happen for Bitcoin ETFs. Yes, this was a record year, the most successful ETF launch of all time. Maybe we'll get $20+ billion of assets into these ETFs in year one. That's amazing. I bet you year two is bigger. And I bet you year three is bigger. ETFs are a 5 to 10 year journey to maturity. So we're still really at the earliest stage.
Now, how about altcoins? How about Ethereum from an institutional investor's point of view?
Well, what I've said, Bitcoin is sort of digital gold to me, and it's a store of value asset. What I've said about Ethereum is don't buy it unless you really understand its business proposition and its competitors, the other databases that might be the rails for crypto. I do think, however, that overall, big picture, stable coins are the new global payment system. And one of the big winners is going to be Ethereum and Coinbase as well. Ethereum's market share kind of bottomed in September. We look at stuff like that. And so it's a little bit of a contrarian play. Ethereum has outperformed over the last several weeks. And I think it's a good entry point, actually, for Ethereum if you understand the pros and cons of it.
But how about the bigger altcoin market? For example, why is SUI pumping?
We want SUI to be the most robust piece of public infrastructure that exists.
Well, the reason you subscribe to Altcoin Daily, the reason we are literally about to surpass 1.5 million subscribers, maybe by the time this video is out, is because we go over the full altcoin market, give you all the information so you can make the best decision for you as an investor. And the reason SUI is pumping today, number one, there continues to be activity on the network. The SUI network surpasses Ethereum with total transactions. But also two, this was big news. SUI integrates Scion as the first of its kind security protocol for network validators.
Scion is an amazing technology that effectively gives you stronger guarantees around moving packets along the internet than exists today, way stronger than a TCP/IP stack that we're all using. And it's going to change the internet. And first thing we're doing is we're running SUI on it in testnet. And this year, by the end of the year, we hope to have mainnet SUI running on Scion. Now, what that means is SUI network would run even if you have, the routing logic of the internet go down, which we've had multiple times. Severed cables, data center outages, no way to route packets around the internet, things go down. Scion is a much more robust mechanism that is immune to those kind of outages. So while the internet is down, you can still transact on SUI. We want SUI to be the most robust.
And speaking of robustness, in Solana news, breaking, Solana having network issues again. The Solana network is temporarily down. Of course, that has never stopped Solana before. And again, in recent news, Coinbase brings Bitcoin to Solana, spurring high hopes for DeFi surge. So just like Coinbase has a stablecoin, which is a coin pegged to the US dollar, they also have their own Bitcoin on Solana, which is pegged to actual Bitcoin. Coinbase introduces CBBTC, which brings Bitcoin to the Solana blockchain. The reason people want something like this, and not just to have real Bitcoin, the reason they would want a Bitcoin substitute on Solana is to use it in DeFi. Now, this actually could be one of the reasons that Solana has to be restarted again. The reason this happens is because there is so much use on this one network. And in low-cap altcoin news for Primex Finance, as you remember, it is the spot leverage trading and yield farming protocol. So spot leverage trading in a decentralized way. Big rewards coming for Price Pulse users. As you may remember, Price Pulse is a Telegram minigame where totally for free you can bet on future prices of crypto. We are thrilled to announce the 15 million PMX tokens that will be allocated to our active Price Pulse community. To qualify, jump in our referral program and start earning by inviting friends, completing partner tasks, and engaging. If anybody wants to play this Telegram crypto game and earn some PMX tokens, I'll link this down below. And like always, see you tomorrow.